De'Aaron Fox on the move. Zach Lavine on the move. Kevin Huerter on the move. Levine's going to pair up again with DeMar DeRozan, but this time in Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox and Wemby in San Antonio. That's a great matchup or a great pairing. One of my favorite destinations for him. A lot of people criticized the fit of De'Aaron and Wemby when it was rumored that he was going to be going there, but I was one of those people that kind of liked the fit. And I really love it now, especially seeing what the Spurs had to give up for De'Aaron Fox. The Kings got fleeced. The Kings got absolutely fleeced. The Bulls walk out okay from this, whatever. You got off Zach Lavine's money. And the Spurs absolutely win this trade. Casuals only. Let's talk about it. So if you're living under a rock, over the last 24 hours, Luka Doncic was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. De'Aaron Fox was traded to the San Antonio Spurs. Zach Lavine was traded to the Sacramento Kings. Just absolutely insane. So here it is. Here's the entire trade. De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin to the Spurs. The Kings get Lavine, CD Sissoko, and 3 first-round picks, 2025 via the Hornets, 2027 via the Spurs, and 2031 via the Hornets, or the Timberwolves, sorry. And then the Bulls get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 first-round pick. So you're like, Jesse, how did the Kings get so fleeced? They got 3 first-round picks and some second-round picks from this. How did they even get fleeced, right? It sounds pretty solid. 3 first is solid, right? So here it is. The 2027 first-round pick from the Spurs isn't much value. They'll likely be contenders by then, meaning the pick would land somewhere in the 20s. The Hornets 2025 pick is even less value because it's lottery protected this year, and if not conveyed this year, it becomes 2 second-round picks, 1 in 2026 and 1 in 2027. The best value pick is the unprotected 2031 first round from Minnesota, which has the potential to be high depending on what's going on with Anthony Edwards and how he feels being in Minnesota after trading away Karl Anthony Towns, and now they're on that slight decline. That seems like it's going to be the most value that they're going to get from these picks. I don't know how the Kings didn't get that Atlanta pick from the Spurs. The Spurs own Atlanta's first round pick this year, and Jalen Johnson is now out for the season. They've lost like 8 in a row, I think. 8 of their last 10. They're 2-10 in their last 10, I believe. They lost 8 in a row or something like that. I don't know how you don't get that pick, and it blows my mind. And this blows my mind that the Kings just ended up with Lavine, CD Sissoko. You're telling me that they didn't end up with one of Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, or Jeremy Sohan, or Stephon Castle? Not one of them? And then you also just got fleeced on picks? Just insane, man. The Bulls, shout out to the Bulls, though. They did end up getting their own pick back, and then they got just whatever from this. I don't really know the contracts on these players to be specific, but they did get their own pick back, which is very valuable for this year. So they can now embrace a full-on tank. And then the Spurs, obviously, they get De'Aaron Fox. They get their guy. And it may seem like, why would they trade for De'Aaron Fox when they're just going to sign him in 2 years or a year and a half anyways? Because he said he wants to go to San Antonio. Well, the whole reason behind that is, A, you get a year and a half with De'Aaron Fox to see how it works, to see the fit, and you didn't give up much whatsoever, so 100% makes sense. It would be questionable if you had to give up Vassell or Castle or Sohan. I think Keldon is pretty expendable for them, but one of those 3 or 4, and you had to give up picks, or that Atlanta pick in specific, if you had to give up any of that, maybe a little more questionable. But the fact that they didn't have to give up any of that is just such a W from them. The Kings, who are basically now just the Bulls of the last few years, 100%. Instead of with Domantas Sabonis, instead of Vucevic, they have Lavine and DeMar. They're back together again. What are they running? Because is Devin Carter stepping in as the point guard, or are they going to run like Malik Monk at the point guard? Malik Monk is going to run the point guard. I mean, there's a whole lot of ball stop. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be somewhat competitive, but it just feels like the Bulls, but just a little better. It literally just feels like the Bulls of last year. Sacramento did get 3 first-round picks, and we already just went through all this, even though they don't have the best value whatsoever. Aside from the picks, the Kings received, they're getting an efficient scorer in Lavine to pair next to Sabonis and DeRozan, even though they've already played together. Sacramento is clearly hoping that they'll have better luck with Lavine DeRozan than the Bulls did over the last 5 years. For the Bulls, they get off Lavine's massive contract, W, after trying to trade him away for the last year or so, which is a win in itself, like I said. They also get their own 2025 pick back from the Spurs, which is setting a deal to get them to, or that got them DeRozan a couple years ago. That's a huge stress relief off their back, as that was a top 10 protected pick this year, and the Bulls have been teetering around the mark all season. Vucevic would be the next to be moved to close the book on what's been a mediocre era in Chicago. Yeah, if they getting that pick back is absolutely huge. The writing was on the wall for the Bulls to go into full rebuild mode for the last year and a half to 2 years. They should have traded DeMar 2 years ago. Same with Lavine. Their value is up then. Luckily, Lavine and Vucevic have been able to raise their value this year, but the Bulls are still sitting in 10th place right now. I think they're 3 or 4 games out or under 500, I think. And even more than that. Oh my gosh, they are 10th place, but they're 8 games under 500. At this point, the 76ers are going to pass them, and they're just fighting for lottery odds now. But they got their pick back. They don't have to worry too much. They can embrace the trade or embrace the rebuild. Yeah, not much to say. I do love the fit. I love the fit of Wemby and Fox. The Kings is going to be interesting. I hope for Kings fans in specific that the Lavine and DeRozan duo works out better than it did in Chicago. You also have Domantas Sabonis, and Domantas Sabonis is a phenomenal big. He's one of the best in the NBA. He's averaging 21 and 14 right now with 7 assists or something. He's having a phenomenal season, and it's just, I don't know. Malik Monk at the point guard seems somewhat questionable to me, but whatever. Doug Christie obviously has something going on for them right now. The Kings have been playing good basketball lately. So we'll see how much that trade or that changes with the replacement of Fox for Lavine, pretty much. Lavine now steps in. Fox is gone. We get to watch Wemby play some competitive basketball now. What happens with Chris Paul? What does that depth chart look like now? Is it going to be Fox and Chris Paul next to each other, or Fox and Castle next to each other, and Chris Paul comes off the bench? Yeah, that's what they're claiming. So the second unit's really good. Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, and Sandro. No Keldon Johnson. I guess I haven't been paying a ton of attention to Keldon Johnson and how he's playing. It seems like he's taken a pretty big fall off this season, though. Still super solid. And now they have the opportunity, if they wanted to make more moves, they have the opportunity to still move Vassell or Keldon Johnson or some of their younger guys, and that Atlanta Hawks pick, which is super valuable. So if they want to make more moves and try and contend this season and make a push this season or next season, I guess not next season if that Hawks pick is for this season, but if they want to trade that Hawks pick this year and trade Keldon Johnson this year and try and fill in some of these spots on this team and make this team even deeper or even better, that is 100% an option for them. Just to recap, the Spurs win the trade. The Bulls come out even, I think, and the Kings get fleeced. Sacramento fans, I feel for you guys. Same with the Mavericks fans. You guys are in the same boat, but not as bad. Honestly, I would rather be, what would I rather be, a Kings fan or a Bulls fan? Or Mavs fan right now. The Mavs are still competing, though. The Mavs are in playoff or championship contention still, but they did just trade away a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent, somebody who is going to be the face of the NBA for the next 10 years in Luka Doncic. That hurts, but you're also going to be contending, possibly if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, you're going to be contending for at least the next 3 years, 2 years. There's that. The Kings lost their franchise guy, and they're not contending, and they got Lavine back, and they got fleeced. Man, I still might rather be the Mavs. At least you got to go to the NBA Finals last year with Luka, too. I don't know. I'm just talking now. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the trade, though. Do you agree with what I got to say? I appreciate all of you. Casuals only. I'm out.